Alright, so here we are inside of this 500 gigabyte Batocera version 35 Light Gun specific build. So every single title on here, and there's over 290 titles in total on this build, every single one of those is going to be a light gun game. And these were designed to work with all of the light gun controllers that are compatible with Batocera version 35. I use the Sinden Light Gun, that's my favorite. It's what I use the majority of the time that I jump in here, but I also use the Mayflash Dolphin Bar paired with an original Nintendo Wii Remote. I know that Batocera has said that they don't recommend using the Mayflash Dolphin Bar with the Wii Remote on Batocera version 35, but I've used it on over 100 titles on here and it works extremely well. So not sure why they're not recommending that, but I personally have used it. I've had that set up for a number of years now on past versions of Batocera. Worked extremely well there, works extremely well on here as well. So I do want to mention that just to clear up any confusion. And you also want to use that setup if you're going to be diving into the Nintendo Wii collection, because there's a lot of great light gun games that were released for the Nintendo Wii, and that's the ideal setup for that collection. I've never tried using the Sinden Light Gun within Nintendo Wii. You could probably go through and try to set that up within the Dolphin emulator. I've not bothered because I really like the experience using that original Wii Remote. So we're going to jump through all of these collections, show you exactly what this build has to offer. So before we do that though, I want to scroll through and just take a look at how all of these appear with this theme. So we're going to kick off here on the Light Gun collection. I love the graphics here. Don't really need a light gun specific collection since every title on here is a light gun game. However, I like the way that it looks here, so I added it in. I love the two shotguns on the side of the cabinet. I think it looks really cool. So we're going to continue on. We have arcade classics here. Now the videos that you see on screen here, they're going to jump around. It's going to play a few seconds of a bunch of different titles from within the collection here on your main page. So you can see here, I forget the title here. It's a really twisted game though. It's not going to stay on there for very long. It will switch out after like 30 seconds or so. So that was Chiller, and we will see it change over to another title here. So we have FB Neo right here. A lot of great titles within there. 30 games for this collection. Let me go back up to arcade classics. It populates in on the bottom right bezel there, just under the screen where the video preview is. So 72 games in arcade classics. So we'll go back to Atari 2600 here. This is a much smaller collection. Not a lot of light gun games there, but these are actually really cool. This particular one that's on screen is a really challenging one. So just 2 games for Atari 2600. Commodore 64. This is going to be a collection that you play with a mouse. You're not going to get this up and running with the Sinden Light Gun, or that's actually that and the Wii Remote I've tested, but you may have some luck tweaking settings and maybe you can get those to work, but this was intended to be used with a mouse for this original console. So that's 18 games in there. Here we have Nintendo Entertainment System, 24 games in here. A lot of great classics. Definitely recommend checking out this collection. It's a lot of fun. Super Nintendo right here, some great titles as well. Just 10 in this collection, but they run extremely well. So here we have the Nintendo Wii collection, and this is probably the most overlooked collection. When people think of light gun games, they don't think of the Nintendo Wii, but there were tons of amazing light gun games. 64 titles on here. And while I don't know if I classify every single one of them as really light gun, they do have that light gun sort of experience if you're using them with a Wii Remote, or a Wii Remote paired with also a nunchuck controller. Some of those you're going to need both of those for, but I use them with the Mayflash Dolphin Bar, and I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. Everything runs extremely well on here. It's 100% comparable to the original Wii console and the experience that you would have with an original console. So, and we're going to jump into all of these collections momentarily. I just want to kind of scan through here, get the count for these, and then we'll dive in. So here is 3Do. This is just one title in here. I messed around with this collection quite a bit, and there are a few light gun titles, but I couldn't get them up and running with Batocera version 35. So all we have in here, and I'll jump in here, is Corpse Killer. This is an awesome game though, really works extremely well. So I didn't want to just remove the entire collection since that game does work. So this is Pie Game here. This is just like a trivia game. Inside here, it's kind of a cool little thing. I threw it in there. It comes with Batocera, but kind of a cool experience if you want to just do like a trivia sort of thing. Not necessarily light gun specific, but or related, but cool to have on there, so I left it. So here we have a Thomas Wave. This is a really small collection, just 2 titles in here, but some great stuff. So we'll highlight that momentarily as well. Sega Master System, another relatively small collection, 10 games in total. They work extremely well though. Here we have Sega Mega Drive, 3 games in here, followed by Sega CD, 6 games in Sega CD. Now Sega Saturn, there's a lot of awesome light gun games for Sega Saturn. We have 15 titles here. A lot of these are going to also be found inside of your classic arcade collection, so it just depends which version of those titles you want to experience. And this one here, Area 51, is probably my favorite light gun game ever. So down here we have Model 3. So this is Sega Model 3, 4 games in here, and we'll actually open this one up. So inside here, we have 4 games, but only 2 of them are technically light gun. So we have Star Wars Trilogy arcade game, love this title, and then we have the Ocean Hunter. Now both of these don't work with a Sinden Light Gun or Mayflash Dolphin Bar paired with the Wii Remote. You're going to want to use like a flight stick, arcade stick for those titles, because if we go back to the original cabinets that they are from, that's what you had for controls there. But they are very much light gun games. You can see Star Wars Trilogy arcade here very much looks like your typical light gun sort of experience. So I left them on there, but you would need a specific type of controller to play those, or you could actually use a gamepad controller as well, but the experience isn't really true to that original arcade sort of feel. Lost World Jurassic Park's on here, works great, love that. And then LA Machine Guns is great as well. Then Ocean Hunter, again, same sort of deal as the Star Wars Trilogy. So we'll continue on. We have Dreamcast here, love Dreamcast, 5 titles in here. We'll jump into these momentarily as well. 6 games for Naomi. Here we have PlayStation. There's 19 PlayStation games, and then here is our all games list. This is where we're going to kick everything off, jumping into our titles. 292 games, that's the count for this specific light gun specific build. So if we jump in here, you can see we have a great layout within. We have our text list on the right, description down in the bottom right, tells us how many players can play this game, when it was released, the genre, the ratings for it. We have a great video preview there. It's got audio. We've got some logos. We have the cover art there for the title, and we can scroll down and check out each of these titles here. So with this being our all games list, it's going to bounce around alphabetical order. It's going to give us every single collection that we have available on here. So we can jump down quite a bit, see how everything works. A lot of great stuff in here. This Big Buck Hunter Pro for Wii is absolutely phenomenal. If you're a Big Buck Hunter fan, definitely check out this for the Nintendo Wii collection. So I'm going to back out, continue on. So here we have a favorites collection. I've left it blank because you want to customize that. You can add titles to your favorites list and then just be able to access them that much quicker. Light Gun, we kind of talked about this before. You can see, same deal as our all games list. Great preview. Love the arcade cabinet sort of feel here. How everything populates in there is just really, really cool. So we have some old school games here for Commodore 64. FB Neo right here. That's a great title. And there's 2 versions of that. So I'll back out. We'll continue on. So here is Arcade Classics. This is going to be MAME, as you can see on the control board of that arcade there with the graphics. So inside here, video previews, and that's for every single title. I'll actually go all the way down, just so we're not seeing the same ones every time. Some hunting games on here that are really great. And every single title on here has been pre-configured and set up, so you don't have to go into your settings and set up the mapping for each title. I've done all of that already. Time Crisis, a classic right here. Love playing this game. The experience is just phenomenal. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And I've done some videos on this title. Let me just loop around because it's one of my favorites. I struggled with getting this up and running, but we have Carnival here. Works perfectly. I've done, again, videos on this, on how to set it up if you're doing your own build, as well as a full gameplay playthrough of this as well. So we'll back out of MAME. And here we have FB Neo. Great titles in here. That's your classics, Lord of Gun, Lethal Enforcers, Jurassic Park's a great one. Just tons and tons. All the Operation Wolf games, Thunderbolt, Point Blank, Rail Chase, that's a great title. Steel Gunner 1 and 2, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, 0 Point games. We've got some turkey hunting here, trophy hunting. This is a really good one. You have different animals you can choose from. So we'll back out again. Atari 2600, this is the smallest collection on here. But these are actually really cool games. This one here, Shooting Arcade, really challenging. Commodore 64, doesn't get much more classic than this. Gangster is a really cool one. I love that title. Bunch of great stuff in here, especially if you're somebody that likes to go down and check out kind of the history of gaming. This is some great stuff. So we don't have video previews here. We just have the still shot for the little preview there. Actually, some of them do have video. This one does for Operation Thunderbolt, but majority of them are just going to be a still shot. So we'll continue on. Nintendo Entertainment System, very much classic collection here. Of course, we've got Duck Hunt, one of my favorite games for light gun in general. I think we've all played that. We've got Hogan's Alley here. It's a really cool game. Tons of good stuff in here. Strike Wolf is a good one. The Lone Ranger is a good one. Lots of good stuff. So, continuing on, Super Nintendo. So there are some versions of some arcade games, Lethal Enforcers. You're going to notice that some of the graphics are brought down a few notches from the arcade versions, but still, great experience there. So this one you can see visibly different from the arcade version for T2 Judgment Day. And here is Nintendo Wii. We saw some of these on the main list, but Big Buck Hunter Pro, probably my favorite in here. Lots of hunting games. We've got all the Cabela's games here. We've got some Remington games. Call of Duty. So these, again, not your classic sort of light gun games, but when playing with a Wii Remote and nunchuck, and you want to get the Wii Remote gun casing, that takes the experience to a whole nother level. I'll put a little, I'll actually put that on screen for you guys. You can see it right here. Just makes the experience so much better. I've done tons of videos using this here on the channel, so definitely check that out. But Call of Duty games, when you're playing with that light gun casing and controller, is really great. Then we have some old school sort of Chicken Blaster, Chicken Shoot. Definitely very much a light gun sort of experience. Lots of great stuff in here though. And let's see. Here's the Remington games I was talking about. If you're into like Buck Hunter, stuff like that, you're going to love this collection of games. We've got the Resident Evil games. We've got Scarface here. Working on a video of this game because playing this as a light gun game with a Wii Remote and nunchuck with that Wii Remote gun casing just is an amazing experience there. Target Terror is also a really good one. Sort of a modern day or fairly modern day Maximum Force sort of vibe to it. Just you can see really a lot of great stuff here. Then we have our Wii Play Wild West Shootout's an awesome one. Ultimate Shooting Collection's a good one here. The House of the Dead games. So this one is House of the Dead 2 and 3. You could play the original versions and then like the redone sort of versions. Redone for that time. I know they've redone some House of the Dead stuff more recently than this, but remember, these are for the Wii collection, so they would have been released on the original Nintendo Wii console. Here we have Overkill, that's a great one as well. Western Heroes, definitely one of my favorite light gun games, very much a throwback. So let me back out. 3DO we talked about, and Autonomous Wave inside here. You can see we have two. So we have Ranger Mission and Extreme Hunting. These work great. Sega Master System here. A lot of good stuff. Rambo 3 is one of my favorites here. We also have this for regular MAME. So this version is obviously brought down a few notches just in terms of graphic quality for home console versus arcade, but great title here. Rescue Mission is a good one. Space Gun, Wanted, then Operation Wolf up there. Marksman Shooting is a good one as well. Really cool. Gangster Town, another good one. So we'll back out. We have Mega Drive here. You can find some of your classics, Lethal Enforcers, Menacer 6 here. Great selection of games. Sega CD. Let's jump in here. You're going to find Crime Patrol, Lethal Enforcers 2, Mad Dog 2, Mad Dog McCree, and Who Shot Johnny Rock. Lots of classic titles here. You can see just looking at the little video preview there. They're definitely retro. Really a great experience to go in here and play these games. Continuing on, we have Sega Saturn, one of my favorite collections. A lot of games in here. We've got Die Hard Trilogy, awesome game. Lots of good stuff. The original House of the Dead, Virtual Cop 1 and 2, both in here. And we're also going to find those in some additional collections too. So we jumped into Model 3 before, skip that one. Here is Dreamcast. Pretty small selection here, but these games are probably, honestly, 5 of my favorite. Love House of the Dead 2. We have that in Wii as well, but if you want to play the original, or one of the original versions here, truly original versions, this is a great way to do so. Virtual Cop 2 in here as well. This one is a little bit smoother than Sega Saturn graphically. Really a great game. Death Crimson 2, Confidential Mission. This is also definitely highly recommended. Backing out, Naomi. Great titles in here as well. This is equally very much another one of my favorite collections. Love Confidential Mission as I just mentioned, but down here, The Maze of Kings is absolutely phenomenal. Mummy sort of vibe to it. Really a lot of fun, and Ninja Assault, definitely a cool game. So continuing on, we're going to drop down to PlayStation. This is going to be our last collection that we dive into. Lots of great stuff here. A lot of these titles were released for arcade as well. Lots of great stuff in here. Judge Dredd, very true to the original arcade. Love that game. Point Blank games here. You've also got some Time Crisis games. We have the original, which we also have for MAME. Pointed that out earlier in this video. But we also have Time Crisis Project Titan, which I highly recommend if you haven't played that. It's an amazing light gun game, and it performs extremely well. So we're back out, and that is going to be the entire build here. So we've jumped through all of these collections. We saw how they look out here, and then also within the actual collections, and saw how the game is populated in. So you're not just choosing from a text list of your titles. You're able to see what the games look like in video form. You can also see the logos, all that good stuff. So that's going to conclude this video. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this build. You know the drill though. Smash the thumbs up button on the video if you found this video entertaining, helpful, you enjoyed it, and then of course hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop for all future videos here on the Retro Gaming Guy YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.